My next guest, Sarah Sharif, founder of Capsule and Experimental Civics. Hey, Sarah,
Hi,
you're in Texas.
I am indeed. I'm in Austin.
Yeah, nice and warm. And see, you do such a important thing for all of us, which is tackling climate change. While climate change is getting out of the headlines for maybe a few days, it is eventually still a problem that all of us will face. Hopefully not in our lifetime, but definitely down the road. What are you guys doing to address this?
Yeah, so, as we've seen last year with the Amazon rainforest being on fire, unfortunately, and what's, taken place in Australia with the bushfires, we know that we're on this trend over the next decade to kind of see more events like this. And we need to definitely be able to pivot businesses and different models, different projects and initiatives that are already happening to really be able to take on and support these types of problems that we're facing. And so what we do is design new ideas, new solutions, revamp ways that we've been looking at things in the past, and really building up new solutions, business models, and launching them from events that we run.
Yeah, see, you've heard the saying, when it's everybody's responsibility, it's nobody's responsibility. You want everybody to be responsible for it, then everybody's going to think, oh, somebody else will do it. What does it have to do with me? I've had quite a few wildlife and climate advocates on my shows everywhere. One of them point blank told me, don't ride elephant, don't do this, don't do that, don't kill anything. For all of us who want to do something to protect our environment, can you give me a couple very specific things that we can each do realistically that's
Right.
going to happen?
Yeah, so I'll say that we need all skills at the table. So something, and I know we'll talk a little bit about Capsule, but it is an event where you could be a marketer or a writer or an entrepreneur or even a health worker, and you can come to the event and participate. So you can actually donate your skills and expertise for the good. So if there's projects that are local, if there's nonprofits around you want to volunteer with, or even if you're feeling brave enough, if you have ideas for how to help other folks, this is like a big space to bring those ideas and energy together. I think in things that we can do in our day-to-day lives, right? It's understanding and educating ourselves on what really is happening, and just being mindful of what is going to come in the next decade. But it's the little things, right? It's the okay, I'm going to practice recycling more this week and make sure that I actually sort everything out. Even challenging yourself on what is recyclable. I've learned a lot very recently of my habits and how I need to change all of that, right down even to taking my own Tupperware to restaurants and places, instead of getting, let's say, plastic or styrofoam boxes. So it's the little things that actually add up. If everyone started doing it tomorrow, I'm sure we would see huge changes too.
Yeah. I mean, we've all heard about Greta, what she says, what she does, but for a lot of us, I feel she is still far away from our lives. And I read about, oh, the sea level is going to rise by 1 millimeter every such long time. And then for a lot of people, it's such an arbitrary concept because we Americans, like, what's 1 millimeter? I don't know. Right? And then we don't know how, like you said, sort your recyclable items into different bins. We don't really know how exactly translate into curbing the rise of sea levels. Like, why do I have to be the one to determine, is this biodegradable or not? Tell us the importance.
Yeah, and I think it is a very interesting place to be because a lot of it is related to CO2 emissions. There's all these, exactly what you said, terms that are out there, right? These metric tons or purchasing carbon credits, and there's all this stuff that's out there. One of the challenges we have that is part of Capsule, again, that 2-day event, is actually focused on education. So how do we talk about climate change? How do we teach it to 5-year-olds? How do we teach it to different populations so you can actually understand it and see how everything connects, right? How you recycling plastic, let's say once a week, or, literally for, let's say, 3-year commitment, how that's going to change and impact the environment. We've seen it with transportation. So if you decide to walk to work or cycle to work, you can definitely see how that impacts your local transportation emissions. And so those are the little things. I think, again, it's those tie-ins, and we just haven't had, I know there's conversations starting to happen, but the more that we loop people into building that solution, you might be that cyclist on the road, you might have a 10 times better idea of how we should get more folks to cycle and build bike lanes than other folks. So I think it's going to be interesting.
Cool. And then can you tell me about your background? How did you get into this? And more importantly, what is your day-to-day like to make sure everything is recycled properly, make sure we take care of Mother Earth?
Yeah, so my background, it's a lot of interesting random connect the dots. My professional kind of academic background was in biology. So I've always had a love of plants and earth and animals and all those great things. And
so you know exactly what 1 millimeter is. You know exactly how
right.
CO2 works.
Right, but I ended up actually working in nonprofits. I ended up working in tech and just identifying all of these gaps of knowledge, right? For technology companies to understand how they connect to nonprofit work, how governments play a role. So actually, it's been a lot of jumping around in different industries that's given me insight into, okay, how can I make everyone play together? How can I bring everyone together now so we can actually design for impact? So, so that's a little bit about how I got here.
You're so young.
So, yeah, it's anyone can problem solve, any age. You could even be retired and see patterns and bring those ideas to the table. Everyone has something that matters.
No,
I
what
think
I meant was you worked in so many industries, so many places, and you're still, a millennial. It's possible, guys. It's possible. You can do a lot of things. Yeah.
it
And then,
is.
yeah, my last question was, what's your day-to-day like to make sure everything is sorted correctly, to make sure we're environmentally friendly?
Yeah, so I think that there's a lot of things. I'll say this, it's a process. I don't have it perfect. Nobody does. We're learning new things every single day. So for me, at least, it's been my connection to nature and plants. So if you have plants at home, animals, I think that has really taught me, again, a little bit more about why we're doing what we're doing, right? Like we're taking care of the environment and nature. But in terms of day-to-day habits, it's having your separate recycling for cardboard. It's having a plastics, bag or something that's on the side that you can fill up. It's just being mindful again of what is actually recyclable. So even I have a great Nespresso machine. I'm addicted to coffee. So even looking at those capsules, asking the question, is this even recyclable? And I did do some research, by the way, and they were turning the capsules into bikes and turning them into pens and all of this crazy stuff. So I think it's just asking sometimes the question and asking, how can I be a little bit better with this? And it's okay. There's times where you'll slip up and you might have used a plastic straw or it was given to you at a restaurant. No biggie, you can recycle it and then just kind of continue to learn.
I did get a question from a viewer once, and I thought you would be a good person to ask this to.
Yeah.
Is if I use, I don't know, paper plate or paper cup to, eat lunch or dinner, because the plate and the cup, they're already dirty, can I recycle them?
Yeah, so I think you can now buy actually like paper plates and paper cups that are biodegradable. So those are essentially the ones that we would put into compost and things like that. Again, I'm not the full expert on full sustainability, but I actually recently learned this myself. But with pizza boxes, sometimes those are actually not recyclable because of the level of grease and other things that are in the box. So it's been a very interesting time of what actually is recyclable versus not. So I'd just say, when in doubt, Google it. There's tons of different resources out there just to double check.
So look it up. Look it up.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to ask around, and always Google is there. Cool. It's great to have you joining us, Sarah.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me on.